Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. We had a lot of rain yesterday, last night. We had that little bit of hailstorm, the little tiny ice balls, and then that stopped, and then the sun came out, and then the rain started again, and then it got really humid, you know, on and off, and it's very breezy now, which is really nice. And the chickens, whenever I walk out the front door, they think that I have a snack for them, but I already gave them their snack today. But they think that I'm just the food lady. That's all I am to them is food. So I wanted to address some things that were mentioned in the comments section. A few things, actually. And it is quite alarming that these criminals are trying to unalive me. And they are. They're trying to unalive me. They're trying to unalive you too, but some people have a stronger agenda for doing so. They may be more highly incentivized to do so. But I'm just going to say for the record, one, I've never been suicidal. I would never take my own life, too. I've been a very healthy person my entire life. I was listening to a podcast about health factors, and one of the most contributing, or two of them, is not smoking cigarettes, you know, or doing drugs or whatever, or ingesting alcohol. I don't do any of those things. Never have, never will. Of course, yeah, sure. When I was a teenager, I had a drink or two, but I can't stand alcohol. I think it tastes disgusting. And the smell of beer makes me ill. So anyway, it just makes me very ill. I like to drink juices and water, etc. So, no, and in my family, my grandmother, my great-grandmother lived to her 90s, even though she was ill. My aunt was in her 90s. My grandmother on my father's side, I think she was 92 or 93 when she passed away. My mother would have lived that long if she weren't murdered at Lawrence Hospital in Yonkers, New York, during the 19 saga. So, yeah, so they labeled her with having had the, you know what, the 19, even though she tested negative twice. They put her on a ventilator and they offed her. That's what happens when you are a truth-telling parent of a targeted person. I woke up this morning and I'm just going to say it flat out. I banned this person from my channel more than a year ago because I felt that it was one of the alter egos or one of those alter creators that was related to that gorilla creature. You know, the one who has what a nerve he's got, right? You know who I'm talking about. The same creature that stalks targeted people to discredit them. I mean, everybody knows he's a paid agent, right? He's a paid provocateur. If he's not being paid for it, then he had some psychological problems. But he may have psychological problems either way, because most of these people that stalk others for profit or innocent people for profit, there's something psychologically wrong with them. And yes, I can say that not only because I've studied psychopathy, but because I've experienced it directly between law enforcement, community harassment, etc., and even within the targeting community. And I'll get to that soon too. But the name of the YouTube creator is StitchingGirl. So StitchingGirl this morning decides to only comment on my video. And this is how you can tell that they're a perpetrator, that they're stalking you, that they're told to discredit you. So it completely discredits the fact that my raspberries and blackberries were destroyed by the criminals, when they certainly have been, by claiming that if I Google search that it's some kind of a disease. Well, I'm sorry, you know, I know for a fact that they were destroyed overnight. And the fact that I didn't post the video for 2 days because I didn't have time to record it, and for the individual to claim that my sunflowers are falling down because of the hail yesterday. The sunflowers were down 2 days ago. I just didn't do the video. Okay, so I really love the way people pick apart my videos and they have no context, zero context for understanding that I don't have time every day to record everything that goes on here. You have no idea. You literally, if I were recording everything that they do every night, I wouldn't have time to live. For instance, you know that water barrel, the 55-gallon water barrel that I photographed yesterday, and I wobbled it, and I told you guys that it's got water in the bottom, probably about 1/8 of a tank, maybe 1/4 of a tank. And we had tons of rain last night. We had so much rain that the little creek here is running again, okay? But they dumped it again. Completely empty. That's number 16 times. 16 times. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you other ways that they're trying to unalive me and also asset strip me. I have propane. I have a propane tank that was here when I moved here, and then I bought another one, the same size. Brand new, from the propane company. They installed it, they fill it. Well, within the last month or so, I noticed some gas smell. I smelled it mostly when I was cooking. And you know, when you're cooking, you're inside most of the time, right? But sometimes I start cooking, and my guineas, which are like teenagers on steroids, won't go to sleep at night. They won't go in the coop. So I go run around chasing them and stuff, and I walked behind my house, and I smelled gas. And I just discounted. I got so busy, I forgot to call. So a week goes by, and the air is really heavy, and I really smell it. So I call the propane company. They tell me the measures to shut it down. And then they came the next day and tested it, and it had a leak. I said, well, what's wrong with it? She said, yeah, we've got a leak here. This bolt here, this screw, this bolt is loose. I said, really? Well, how would that happen? I said, you guys installed, I've had it for about 4 years, maybe 3.5 years. I have it about 3.5 years. I said, but you guys installed it brand new. How would that happen? And he said, I have no idea. I said, well, could it be that somebody loosened it? He said, well, you know, could be. Could be that somebody loosened it. Like I'm seeing somebody opens this water here and it's leaking. So somebody loosens the bolt on my propane tank. And not only did it cost me $270 for them to come out here and repair, $270 I didn't need to shell out now. But that could have been a problem. I don't smoke cigarettes. There isn't anybody around here that smokes. But they told me over the phone, do not walk behind there with your cell phone while the gas was leaking. And do not light anything, like a lighter or whatever. I said, well, no, I'm not, or smoke a cigarette. I said, well, I won't be doing that. So this is what happened here. And yes, Sheriff Daniel Isaacs, all your perpetrator, all the neighbors that listen to my videos, I didn't get you that letter yet because I'm constantly updating it, and I will update it to include this and the cost. And mark my words, when you receive my next letter, it's going to include thousands of dollars of damage, and I want an incident report, accurate, itemized. Yes. So I've got the propane leak. Now I wanted to address something that somebody said about, and a lot of targeted people are proponents of some of the larger targeting groups. Honestly, I've been in this program too long and have known these groups and how they've changed directors and all that stuff, and how there's been no lawsuits all of those years, nothing, to want to support them. I won't. I'm just not going to. My name's not on any lawsuit filed by them. I'm not going to donate any money, and I'm certainly not going to distribute flyers associated with a company that doesn't have my best interests. Now, a targeted person who's no longer with us, her name is Kim Straub. I have her testimony on my channel. You can go to my playlist and look for testimonies and see Kim Straub. She was a registered nurse. She was being medically trafficked, and the Freemasons were harassing her. She had implants that she was able to prove. Some of them were actually removed before they decided to off her. But before that happens, I hear my guineas in the background. I don't know what they're doing back there. They should not be going back there. They're like wild animals back there, like foxes and stuff. They're probably like, you hear them? They're all the way back in there. I don't know what they're doing back there, but they decide they're going on a road trip and don't tell me about it. But, she was distributing flyers for one of those, the top one, the one they claim that they're the best, you know, they've got the best information. She was distributing flyers for them, and it just happened to be near a police department. I guess whatever building she was at was near a police department. This is not unusual. When I lived in New Jersey, the post office was right next to the police department. Police departments are often next to other buildings, like a city hall, or like in Manalapan, like the Manalapan High School, where all those nice little teenage girls are for them to hit on. Yeah, read about that one. So she was distributing flyers, you know, to educate the public about targeting and stuff. Well, a cop approaches her, and he tricks her, and he handcuffs her. I kid you not. Handcuffs her and brings her to a mental health facility. So he Baker acted her. And Kim carried all of her evidence with her because it had been stolen before. Well, they stole her evidence. Basically, I believe that they medically kidnapped her and did this because they wanted her evidence. And they do this similarly to other targeted people and just regular people that necessarily aren't targeted. You know, you hear about it on all the YouTube creators, the cop auditors. People are being pulled over and money is stolen from them, or money or drugs are planted, or, you know, they'll do anything to, you know, get a couple of bucks in their pocket, or possibly get a promotion, place somebody on a watch list, right? So, yeah, so they Baker acted her. And then when she finally came out, and Skizit and I wrote letters on her behalf to get her out of there. And when she finally was released, and I'll say it 1,000 times, you know, remember that Ella that everybody loved? Everybody, she was so sweet. Ella, the one who had her podcast, who took them all down. The website disappeared. The domain name is up for sale. And yeah, everybody says, oh, she was going through a divorce. Oh, well, you know what? A lot of people go through a divorce. I went through one for 3.5 years. Okay, so, but anyway. But she has the audacity to discuss Kim in a public forum, ostracizing her for distributing flyers, completely unsupportive of her, which further traumatized her. So I will never distribute flyers for any of those companies. If I have my own flyers, like the one that I created called Real Estate Mobbing, I will post that online, but I'm not going to walk around handing out flyers. I have better things to do with my time, unfortunately. I'm too busy here to do that. I wouldn't be able to create videos for you guys. There goes a stalker right now. But, so no, I will never do that. I suggest that you don't either. I mean, if you've got your own flyers, that you're creating your own flyers, but I would not do it in the name of somebody else. They're not supporting you. They're not supporting you. Your name's not on any lawsuit. Is your name on any lawsuit? Is anybody fighting for you? personally. No. So I wouldn't do that. I would rather create a YouTube channel or a Facebook page or a Twitter, X, and do my activism that way. Don't put yourself out there. It's actually too dangerous now for everybody. Even going grocery shopping these days is dangerous, right? So anyway, so that's that. I also created a new YouTube channel. I did it for 2 reasons. So it's called Targeted Pets. Targeted Pets is a Facebook page that I created 7 years ago to bring awareness to what's happening to pets, farm animals across the country. Even PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, have stated that they've received thousands of phone calls from people across the country about those loud bangs and booms and noises and pet assaults, like pets getting burned out of nowhere, okay? So I created the Facebook page 7 years ago, and then somebody told me recently that a targeted woman in the community who I've known, she was one of the first people to contact me, which is very suspect, right? I really don't like talking about other targeted people, but just because somebody is targeted doesn't mean they always have the best intentions. Okay, people in the targeted community, some of them are desperate. They're desperate for love or attention and whatever. Well, one of those organizations decided they were going to, I guess it was a year ago, put on their website the same thing, targeted pets. And it's like, you know damn well that targeted pets is something that I created years ago. I have tried to spread the word throughout the community and through my previous newsletter to, over 110 people, of which all those organizations were part of my newsletter, my mailing list. They just decided to take it and pop up a couple of pictures of animals that were targeted and then do nothing with it. And then suddenly this woman in the community creates a podcast, Targeted Pets, but ironically, never told me about it. You would think that knowing she would always contact me on Facebook. I would tell her repeatedly, I'm not on Facebook that much anymore. Please email me. And she would send me stuff via Messenger, which I don't have Messenger. Like all this stuff. But meanwhile, she created a podcast called Targeted Pets, no mention of it. I ended up blocking her. So that's another reason why I created the YouTube channel Targeted Pets, so that I would have the name that matches my Facebook page. And I certainly have enough videos that I've created about targeted pets and farm animals to re-upload them to that channel. So please subscribe. I will be posting a link to the page so that you can just click on it and subscribe there. I only have one video there, one kind of like a little announcement video. It takes a while to set up a YouTube channel. I just didn't have a lot of time yesterday. And I'm trying to sell my house. So I've got to finish that ad, because I think I mentioned to you that I created a whole ad. I spent so much time on it. Checked it. It was there. The URL was there. And then when I go back 6 days later to re-edit it, change the price and stuff, it was gone. Somebody deleted it, disappeared. I had to start all over again from scratch. So it's not exactly the way I want it. But fortunately, it's had over 3,000 views. That's more than any of my YouTube videos ever get. So yeah, so my property has already had over 3,000 views. So now, I wanted to mention that, let me see, I've got a list here. The StitchingGirl. I wanted to also thank all of the subscribers and the caring people that saw my eyes, what they've done to my eyes, and for the suggestions and stuff. I have tried everything. These people have stolen a lot of my shielding material. And the shielding material that they haven't stolen from me, they have sliced, cut up, They're really on me like white on rice. You know that expression? I mean, they're all over me. They're on my property all the time. You can see that they're on my property by dumping my water. We had all that heavy rain yesterday, and I wiggled the barrel yesterday to show you that there is water in it. You know, maybe an eighth or a quarter of a barrel. It would have been toppled up to the top with all the rain we had yesterday, but no, it's empty now. So somebody was on the property and dumped it. This is every day somebody's here. They take shifts. They take shifts. And thank you also for the subscriber or targeted person that says you also own a home. You won't be selling it because you feel that selling it will not net you any profit at this point. Well, I feel your pain. I really do. When I lived at 52 Sutton Drive in Manalapan, New Jersey, I will tell you that my house was originally listed for $620,000. It was a 5-bedroom house. It was the biggest house on my side of the block. And it was beautiful. It was beautifully landscaped, etc. I had all the bells and whistles. I had renovated the bathrooms, the kitchen, hardwood floor, ceiling fans, attic fan, whole house fan, basketball hoop, gorgeous 6-foot PVC fence that was only a few years old, security system, all of that. I had to knock down the price so many times that it finally only sold for $550. It should have sold for much more. But during that time, I was asset stripped $300,000. I've said it before, I should have been a millionaire. I should have been at this point. Even with my horrible 3.5-year-long divorce, I should have been. But I have been asset stripped that much because my family, everybody in my family works hard, like workaholics. We create businesses. I create businesses. I'm successful. And I invested in antiques. I know the value of antiques and things that increase in value. And I have no intention of selling this property without a profit. Zero. Even with the stuff that they do, because one thing I have to say is that land doesn't decrease in value. A home does. Sometimes homes do. But land generally doesn't. So, now I wanted to mention also that this started to happen with my eyes. It was like immediate, overnight. And it coincided. It coincided with my stating that I hoped in the future to be interviewed by someone about the Manalapan Police Department. And the next day I woke up with my eyes looking like this. And I do put castor oil on my eyes. I do cover my face when I sleep. I have a rubber yoga mat. I have a bulletproof insert, a vest insert. I have a Kevlar sheet that goes across my body. I still wake up and my legs are vibrating and my feet. You should see my toenails. It's too embarrassing. I've taken photos from New Jersey to here of what they're doing to my toenails, and I don't even know what to do anymore. Don't even know what to do. But one person told me about a box, setting up a box for your feet and for your head at night. And I'm going to have to do something like that. It's just incredible the way we have to live in order to stay alive. But anyway, so that's that rant. Beware of a YouTube creator called StitchingGirl. StitchingGirl is a perp. What this person does is it targets certain people and takes some of their content and stitches it into their own skits and libelous slander. So this individual discredited me and said, well, I'm going to debunk your claim that you're targeted by the government all over Rumble. And I'm thinking, what? I don't know, guys. Do I ever claim that I'm being targeted by the government? I always just call them criminals. If they're part of the government, that's fine. But we all know that it has to start somewhere. We're placed on a watch list. It is a government list. It's by the FBI. The FBI maintains, and everybody knows this, the FBI maintains a watch list. It's its terrorist screening database. And all the whistleblowers that have come forward have stated that they were forced to include people, innocent people, to bloat the list. So now we've got between 4 and 8 million innocent people on the list. So while I'm not saying that the FBI is targeting me, they've got me on a list. I can prove that I'm on a list. I was labeled a terror threat by the Manalapan Police Department for walking on my driveway, while my criminal implant neighbor called the police on me for claiming that I cursed at her in front of her infant son. First off, there is no crime in cursing at someone. In fact, somebody just won a lawsuit, a $175,000 lawsuit, for giving the cops the middle finger. The cop arrested the person for disorderly conduct. Well, years later, the ACLU took the case, sued the pants off of them, got $100,000 for the person, got the charges dismissed, and the ACLU was able to collect $75,000. Yeah, I heard this this morning on Steve Leto's Law YouTube channel. I also heard this morning on the Institute for Justice filed a lawsuit against my favorite Bureau of Instigation for seizing millions of dollars of security safety boxes at a local bank, or what are they called? Security. You know, we have a security box and you put your birth certificate in there and cash and stuff like that. So they were performing an investigation about the facility. And in investigating, they decided, well, we're just going to take everything in all the security boxes that belong to regular people that committed no crimes. That's right. So the Institute for Justice filed a lawsuit for all of those people across the country. And now my favorite Bureau of Instigation were found guilty. They're found guilty. They're going to have to give it all back. Yeah, so is that what you mean by government person? I mean, these are criminals. They're stealing your money. I don't know. There are laws against theft. There are laws against stealing something that doesn't belong to you. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a badge. It doesn't matter. So, but I generally don't say that I'm being targeted by the government. I generally say that they're criminals and they're private contractors, they're neighbors, they're community-based agents, they're fusion center operatives, they're InfraGard. And they work directly for the government, for sure. We all know that the Department of Justice doles out grants to every state for the community watch groups. There are zillions of videos on YouTube about these lame community watch people. They're snoops. They have no life. They're rat snitches. They'll snitch at somebody for having an argument with their boyfriend or girlfriend. They'll snitch on somebody for playing their music too loud. They just ratted out somebody. There's a guy on YouTube, and he does this to help people. And I forget the name. He's a landscaper. And he goes to people that can't afford their landscaping, and he will do a full makeover for free. Well, some stupid community watch guy approaches him, asks him who he is. What are you doing in my neighborhood? What are you doing in my neighborhood? Like your neighborhood? He got permission from the city to perform the landscaping for this. And this Snoopy Doopy neighbor who thinks he owns the neighborhood because he's a watch person, while the guy is cleaning up the neighborhood for everybody, calls the police on him. Well, my neighbor does stupid stuff like that. My neighbor next door has approached workers on my property and tell them, if you continue to clean her property, you're going to be part of our lawsuit. You're threatening my workers because they're cleaning my property? Like, what planet do you live on? I mean, you know, what's wrong with these people? They're nuts. They're totally crazy. They want to label us crazy? No. So, in summary, beware of StitchingGirl on YouTube. The FBI just lost a lawsuit for seizing all the security boxes of hundreds of people across the country. Wow, 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 big win for the Institute of Justice. Another win for the ACLU for defending somebody's constitutional rights to stick your middle finger up at a cop if you feel like it. I mean, I don't recommend it because, you know, it hurts their feelings when you do that. And if you get their feelings hurt, they'll arrest you for disorderly conduct. And they'll tell you to stop resisting while they're pummeling your head in the ground like they did to that woman, that citizen journalist in Texas who almost died, whose face is totally crushed. And yes, so somebody loosened the nut, the bolt on my propane tank to cause a leak. That's why one of them was lower than the other in propane. Do not hand out flyers unless they're your own. If they have the name of somebody else's organization, they will not protect you if you're arrested or Baker acted. I'm just telling you flat out, you can do what you want. But they're not looking out for your interests. You want to pass around flyers? Create your own. And again, pass them out at your own risk. Because in this day and age, even going to the grocery store, getting gas at the gas station, look at Micah Miller, and a shout out to Freedom Voice Online, who is covering and giving Micah Miller a voice. I'm so proud of you for doing that. Like, she was definitely a targeted person, and I want her husband arrested. Excuse me? Could you leave my girl alone? My roosters, they've got antsy in their pantsy. And look at what they're doing. Leave the girls alone. Leave the girls. Leave the girls alone. Guys, if you're going to get chickens, make sure that you don't have too many roosters. I didn't have a choice. These roosters were born here. A lot of times you can't tell the difference between a rooster. Look at them. Oh no, they're assaulting another hen. You can't tell the difference between a rooster and a hen until they're like months old. And then it's like, oh, they're so cute, but they're turning into a rooster like Chirp. Yeah. You could just leave the girls alone. Right? Just leave the girls alone. Can't you just leave the girls alone? They get all ornery, you know? But anyway, that's my rant for today. Please leave your comments down below. And if you have any advice, any good places to share my property information, please let me know. Somebody told me, I was in a chat recently, that said your property would be great for like young people starting a homestead. I've got to find these youngsters, these 20 and 30-year-olds, right, who want to start a homestead. Maybe they'll be from California. You know, a lot of California people are moving out of there. And, you know, let's just say a prayer for Japan, who had an earthquake. Japan had an earthquake, not good. There's a lot of floods all over the country, the North Midwest. And I'm going to sign off for now, guys. Please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And thank you for the recommendations for my eyes. This is going on week 4, so it's really disturbing and alarming. And plus, you know, they're actually trying to make me look old. I mean, I know that sounds, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a glamorous person, but I've never had to worry about my appearance before. And everybody in my family, generally the females, look a lot younger. And I did too before I moved here. So they are literally trying to destroy my appearance the last 2 years here. And that's why I posted the video online. I want you to see what they're doing to me here. I know it's embarrassing to me. It's very embarrassing. But it's not embarrassing to show the world that you're being assaulted. Grape. Somebody used that word, grape, instead of the R-A-P-E word. Grape victims need to come forward and do so. So why not targeted people? Why not? I don't consent. I do not consent. And all you losers around here that are getting paid, these psychopaths, it's all going to come back to you. And if my property doesn't sell, there will be a lawsuit. Mark my words. I will file a lawsuit if my property doesn't sell. And just remember, oh, and for the person who asked me, and I apologize, I want to make another video on this. I am a divorced single woman. And no, I didn't get divorced, or my marriage did not end because I was targeted. That was an excellent question. No, I filed for divorce because I just didn't like my ex-husband. He turned out to not be a good father. He was very bad with money. He drank too much alcohol. And then I found out that he was going out with his boss, and they were betting on the horses. I was wondering, like, where all the money was going. You know, we had joint bank accounts and stuff, and the money just started disappearing. And we had certain bills to pay individually. And for some reason, he was always getting behind. Like, our home equity credit line was never going down. So I decided to swap with him. I said, why don't you pay X, Y, and Z bills, which are stationary bills, and I'll take the equity credit line and I'll pay it. Well, I ended up paying it down. I couldn't understand why it wasn't getting paid down when he earned 6 figures. So yeah, so he was spending a lot of money during lunchtime. He and his boss were betting on the horses, and they were smoking marijuana, doing other kinds of things and stuff. So yeah, I asked him for a divorce, and unfortunately, both his divorce lawyer and then mine were trying to asset strip us. And his divorce lawyer, actually, he had several divorce lawyers. He had to fire one. You want to know why he had to fire one? This is good. This is getting good. He had to fire his female divorce lawyer because she had a nanny that she'd brought from another country. She wasn't paying this nanny. She was actually, the word, slave. She was like a slave in her home, but she gave this nanny her car to go pick up her kids or do some errands or whatever. And she got into an accident, and she didn't have a driver's license, and then it all went back to this lawyer. And then it came, under the police department where she was not paying this nanny. It was a really big to-do. It was all over the newspapers. So that was my ex-husband's lawyer. So then he got another one who was just as bad. Yeah, he worked in Red Bank, New Jersey, and he was a piece of crap. He's the one that personality tested me. Yes, don't do that to your clients. Don't do that because it might backfire. It might backfire. Like, he was claiming that I needed to go back to work at my human resources job because I'd stayed home with my daughter and whatever. But I had started a staffing business, and I was internet related. Integrated Staffing Resources Inc. I did that for quite a while, and he claimed that I shouldn't have my own business. So he personality tested me with this long procedure, and it turns out that I really was best suited to work for myself because evidently I don't work well with unmotivated, stupid people. So that's what that came out to. But he and I had words with each other, and I called him out and stuff. And when I filed pro se against my ex-husband after he stopped paying support, I pretty much ruined him in front of the judge when I found evidence against my ex-husband that he didn't want revealed, and he was glaring at me, and other attorneys in the court were cheering. So yeah, so that's what happened. No, I'm divorced. I was married for 14 years. And I filed for divorce. I should have done it sooner. But I had my daughter was 6 at the time. My daughter's 35 now. And that's that story. So no, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that are targeted that were married before. I know quite a few of them. 3 of them were married to police officers, and after they divorced, those creepos got placed in the program for divorcing a cop. So you know damn well that the cops are involved. If you divorce a cop, you're going to be watch listed. How about that? So my advice to you is don't marry one. Just don't marry a cop. Okay? Don't marry law enforcement. There are other people out there you can marry. And yeah, so I did date in between that time. You know, I dated. I went on Match.com, and I met a lot of people, and I dated. I met some great people. I met some weirdos. I met guys who claimed to be single, but I found out they were married. I had guys that would set up a date with me and then were a no-show. Could you imagine? Like, I thought, you know, that doesn't happen, you know? So, but yeah, but all that stuff happened to me. Yeah. So, and then knowing that I was going to move, I decided to stop dating. I didn't want to meet anybody and be in a relationship knowing that I was moving out of state, although that was a stupid thing to do on my part. Maybe I would have either stayed in New Jersey, or maybe we would have moved together, or maybe I would have moved to a different state. So don't place your dating on hold because you think you're going to move. That was my mistake. Yeah, that was a mistake for me. And I did date in between that. And in fact, I dated a guy who was significantly younger than me for a long time. So, and I was going to school during that time. I was going to school in my 50s, you know, getting my master's degree and multiple certifications and stuff. So I didn't have really a lot of time between having a daughter that lived at home and, you know, flying back and forth to the state that she moved to and taking care of a home and a cat rescue and all that stuff. So, and, you know, a lot of the guys in Manalapan, you know, the ones that were approximately my age, they were married, and a lot of them were cheating. A lot of them were cheating, and not only were they cheating, but there's a whole community in Manalapan, New Jersey, where they swap. Yes. They swap husbands and wives. Not just a wife, the husbands and wives. What is it called? I forget what it's called. Swinging. That's what it is. Swinging. Huge swinging in Manalapan, New Jersey. You want to move to Manalapan? You can find a swinging club in Manalapan, New Jersey. Yeah, not into it, no interest. Yeah, I've been invited, but no, I have no interest in that nonsense. But anyway, so that is my personal story. I'm a divorced single, mom of 1 adult daughter. I've got chickens and guineas and roosters and cats and all this land. And I got a bunch of sorry-ass neighbors that think that they can threaten people that work on my property. Yes, so what I did was Neighborhood Wars on A&E, April 11, 2023. I was interviewed about my neighbors, and there are video clips of them. Yeah, video clips of them tearing down my gate. They still owe me, and yeah, I'm going to say it out loud because I intend to get that money. I don't know if it's $628 or $668. They owe me money. They owe me money. And Chris, yeah, you owe me money too. I don't know exactly what it is that you owe me. I'm going to have to calculate it. Figure out how many pounds those 2 auto chassis were that you scrapped, and then my gate that you stole. I'll figure that out too. Yeah, and you could all go run to the county lawyer. He's not going to protect you guys in the end. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I'm going to end my rant now. Get something to drink here. And please remember to hit the thumbs up, like, comment, and share if you feel inclined to do so. Beware of StitchingGirl. And if you have any recommendations for an individual, a group, a business who might be interested in purchasing this land, 64.1 acres, separate deeds, all these buildings, rental, you can rent. There's areas to rent here on the edge of a national forest. I have a well, a stream, creek, water all over everywhere. And yeah, you too can own a pew-pew here because Kentucky is a real proponent of those pew-pews. So if you don't have one, you got to get one because all the neighbors got one. Let me tell you, they have more than one. Yeah, so, and most everybody's got a dog. Oh, and in fact, I just want to tell you, on my security cameras, early this morning, there's this huge white thing in front of my camera, like right where I'm standing here, and it's like, what is that? I do the playback, and it's like, wow, that's one of those Pyrenees dogs, huge Pyrenee dog. It's like, is that my neighbor's dog? So I text her. She says, no, my 2 dogs are here. And it's like, who else has one of these huge dogs? And it was on my camera from like midnight until almost 3 o'clock in the morning, like wandering around the property. No wonder when I walked out this morning, I didn't see any animals around, no cats. There was nobody around. But anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you for listening to me and welcome newcomers. And the rooster say goodbye too.